Okay, so Nadia reached out to me 3 hours ago, maybe 4, and she asked, is there a thing that makes you worried, that makes you wake up in the middle of the night about crypto, about Ethereum, or about whatever else? And there is a thing. I believe that Ethereum is progressing slower than it could. So let's find out how you can make Ethereum better. And we start with the obvious thing. You can spread the word about Ethereum. And even though most of you sitting here might be thinking that, come on, everyone knows about Ethereum. Like, that's a basic. That's not true. Like, the absolute majority of people in the world, even those who are aware of crypto, they think about crypto like, oh, it's a Bitcoin and some shit around that. And Ethereum is a totally different thing. So just by telling people what Ethereum is in a few words, just by encouraging people to install maybe even a hot wallet like a Rabi wallet or Empire or Serion. I was previously telling by installing MetaMask, forget MetaMask, I'm no longer a MetaMask fan. But anyway, so doing this simple thing is already a big step. But as soon as you move further from spreading the word, you can move to teaching people about Ethereum. Because at the end of the day, adoption and users is not the only thing that Ethereum is currently lacking. We are also lacking developers. We are also lacking smart people working deep into Ethereum. So the other good thing that you can do to support Ethereum is you can teach people about Ethereum, about mechanisms, about Solidity programming language, about EVM, about whatever thing you are expert in. So make sure to do that. Moving on to less obvious things. Hey, you guys know that each and every of you could write an EIP. And, well, maybe some of you know. But still, for those of you who are not aware, EIP is Ethereum Improvement Proposal. It's basically a document that solves a specific problem for Ethereum, and all of the hard forks, which you've probably heard of, are made out of a bunch of EIPs. So a specific problem is picked, a solution is developed, well, not even developed, described, formulated in specifications, and then there is how, this is how Ethereum is moving towards hard forks, moving and becoming better. But you might say, okay, come on, take it easy. We're getting to a very dangerous territory. Writing EIP is a fucking big task. And I agree with you. You need to have a lot of time. You need to have a very deep expertise. So writing EIP might not be the thing for everyone. But did you know that you can also champion EIP? And this is a concept that a few people heard of, but this is a very needed thing. So there are many people, many smart people already writing EIPs. But for EIP to make it to the hard fork, to be implemented on Ethereum, a rough consensus between core developers should be reached that this EIP should be included into the fork. And there are a lot of good EIPs for which rough consensus hasn't been reached, not because EIP is bad, not because the problem that is solved within this EIP is irrelevant, but because those behind this EIP were not that vocal about this EIP, and those behind the other EIPs were more vocal, and their voices were heard, and the voices for this EIP, for example, were not. The great example here is, for example, stable container for SSZ, which is a great EIP. It's a very simple one. It solves a perfect problem. Though for 3 forks already, this EIP was not included, not because it's problematic, not because it's complicated, but because no one had been joining ACD calls. No one had been reaching out each and every day to client teams saying, hey guys, you should consider this EIP. So championing EIP is a good thing if you are not the person to write EIP yourself, but you believe that the problem and the problem is formulated and the solution is formulated in one of the EIPs that are not yet included, you might be the one who will be the champion for this EIP, who will spread the word about this EIP, who will convince core developers that this EIP should be included. Okay. Moving up next. And that's again pretty obvious thing. You can develop an open source tool for Ethereum, which might be your side project. And for sure, it will be beneficial for Ethereum and Ethereum users. And at the same time, it's not just you who understand that open source tools are great for Ethereum. A lot of projects within the Ethereum ecosystem do value that. So by doing that, you will not just make Ethereum better, but you will also get a decent chance of getting 1 or 2 grants for this thing. So each and every time you face a problem interacting with Ethereum, or you see a challenge interacting with Ethereum, or whatever else, and you feel like, oh, I have enough skills, or I'm pretty good at vibe coding these days, that I can solve this problem with a piece of a software or by creating a tool, well, make sure to make this tool open source, make sure to make it available for others so that they will not have to spend time doing that. And moving up to a final part. To make Ethereum better, you can run Ethereum node. And just node, not just without validators, just a node. And you might ask, well, why? Why would it make Ethereum better? Well, it would make Ethereum better in a few cases. First of all, if you're running a full node, you are per story, you are custodying a copy of Ethereum blockchain at your local machine or at your virtual machine or wherever else. So the more nodes are in Ethereum network, even though these are not validating nodes, the more copies of Ethereum are, and the better it is for Ethereum. And the other thing is that whenever you have your local node, you can avoid using this RPC providers who will definitely do some sketchy things with your personal information. So you will be able to get access to Ethereum network through your own node. So double benefit both for you and for Ethereum. And finally, you can run Ethereum validators. And this is probably the easiest thing for those of you not technical, not super deeply involved, maybe even without a friend so that you have nowhere to spread a word about Ethereum. But you can still do that. You can run validators at home, making Ethereum more decentralized, like way more decentralized. And as you may ask me, oh, come on, 32 ETH, even at the current discount, that is getting pretty interesting. It is still a lot. And that's why, for example, you can run validators with a thing like Lido CSM that me and my team are developing in Lido, where you will be able to start with something like 2.4 ETH and get slightly higher APR. So to wrap it up, Ethereum needs you. And make sure that each and every time you wake up, you have free time, ask yourself, have I did something good for Ethereum today? And if not, well, maybe there's a good day to do something good for Ethereum. Thank you.